Hi everyone, and welcome to UFO Friday. I am so glad that you are here joining me. I forgot to put my camera in here, so let me do that real quick. Have some people over in Zoom joining us live, as well as streaming out to YouTube. And here I am. Hello, you can see me. I have to do one more thing because I forgot to do that. I was telling them how I felt like I was coming in like a wrecking ball today because I was doing so many things at one time, trying to get everything wrapped up to be here. And that was just the one little detail that I forgot. So if that's all I forgot, that's pretty doggone good. Before I forget, UFO Friday is coming up again in December, and we're going to have UFO Friday on December 13th. So I will be at my mom's house during that time, and I think we're just going to do something fun. So I haven't quite thought of that just yet, so stay tuned for those details. They'll be coming up in a little while. Stay tuned to the email. And if you're not on my email list, you can go to sewingmachineartistry.com, and there's an area where you can sign up for that. So if you're new here to UFO Friday, I want to welcome you, and I have some people here that have been with me for a very long time, and I kind of want to do my soft reveal about what I have in mind for UFO Friday starting in 2026. A lot of things have been going on my end, and I'm super excited to be able to finally share them with you in a way that that gives you even more. So let's leave it at that. So UFO Friday started back in 2020. And ever since then, in the beginning, it was more or less about getting our UFOs completed. And we were meeting on YouTube and I think Facebook Live at that time. And we were starting to form a regular group. UFO Friday was meeting once a week during COVID. So we really got to know each other quickly, and we really became good friends. So as time went on, things evolved a little bit, and we started doing Zoom, and that was really fun because then we got to see each other face to face for a change. I want to add a little border here because I feel like I'm floating on that background, and so we got to know each other quite a bit and become good friends, and that was really nice. And so then it's grown from that. It became more educational once we started getting out of the pandemic, and we started meeting once a month at that point. And I think I had it something a little bit more consistent because traveling wasn't quite back to normal just then. And then as we came out of the pandemic, it just kind of grew, and now I do it once a month based on what my schedule is. So that's still the plan for next year. So as time went by, I decided to provide some education to you all. So it was teaching you either a technique or showing you a tool that I use. And if you're not familiar with me, hello. My name is Michelle Umloff, and I am a national educator. I've been in the industry for 15 years. I work with Clover as a brand ambassador for them and have a lot of fun with them. I have this little toolbox over here. You'll probably get a view of it a little later, full of all kinds of goodies. And then I am also a national educator for Sulky, so I really know the spools and tools, right? And the stabilizers as well. So they're kind of like my specialties. And what I really like to sew is I kind of had to admit this to myself. When I first started sewing, I was a garment sewer, and I was kind of doing things like couture. And then my career blossomed, and I kind of like went in the other direction. I went over to the dark side, if you will, and did more quilting type of work. But I really consider myself to be a diverse sewer. And what I really like to do is techniques, because I work with so many people for such such a short period of time, I'm trying to show them like how to use a thread or a stabilizer or a notion, that I've kind of just like stuck with my techniques. If I work on something big, I have a short attention span and it usually does not get finished. So there we come right back to UFOs. The other part of UFO Friday is community, and that's really important to me. I think the rest of us, when in the Zoom room, we really enjoyed getting to know each other and having somebody there that kind of gets what we do. And that's been really nice part of this thing that we've built together called UFO Friday. So what UFO Friday is not any sales pitches. There was a time when I did attempt to do some sales back during COVID, but I'll be honest with you, that is not my thing. I then had to put on another hat and have a shipping department and figure out how to get the labels prepared and stuff like that. And that was not fun. And if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. So I don't do any of that. Usually on a rare instance, I might bring a friend over, and it might not even have anything to do with sewing. It might be just something fun just for us. Or I'll have another friend over that might talk to you about their patterns and stuff like that. But I'm pretty set on no sales pitches during UFO Friday. And I like to keep it kind of casual. And boy, let me tell you, I am raw today. Normally I have a nice PowerPoint presentation for you, and you can see that I can do that, but I just don't have one for what I'm going to show you how to make today. So one of the things that's been important to me since the beginning is everybody is welcome. It doesn't matter to me what brand sewing machine you have, what skill level you are, how old you are. That doesn't matter to me, or even what products you use. Even though I mentioned some and I work with these products, there's plenty of other ones out there, and I don't feel like you have to buy anything special just to hang out with me. But I know there's some stores in my local area that don't really welcome people if they don't have a certain machine from their shop, and that just breaks my heart. So I don't go there too often, even though it's like a very, very pretty store to go into. And when it comes to skill level, I've worked with them all. This past couple summers, I've been working with kids. About the youngest I'll go is 8 years old, and it goes up from there as far as the age. I've even managed to help a lady with her sewing. She spoke Spanish, and I just spoke a little bit of it because it was before cerveza time or before the tequila time. So I couldn't communicate with her too well, but I had a little bit of knowledge there that I could at least get her started. They bring back good memories because that was probably about 15 years ago. So this is especially for you. UFO Friday is for you if learning to sew is on your bucket list. Even if you're here and you're seasoned and you want to continue sewing, this is the place for you, because I can help you take your sewing skills to the next level. And a lot of times I see people coming back to sewing. You know, they had to do their time when they were working, etc. And they're like, I want to start doing sewing again because I have more time, or they have grandchildren or children of their own, or, the things change and they want to make homemade gifts again. So this is the place for you. Who is UFO not for? The little green men. Back in the day when we first started on YouTube, we had some people pop in here that thought we were going to talk about aliens and flying objects, but they quickly found out that that was not the case, and they decided to leave. But if you don't have an interest in sewing and you don't want to learn, you don't want to use a sewing machine, or you much rather just buy from something handmade from someone else, that's okay. This might not be the place for you, but you're welcome to stay and listen, as long as you behave. I have to throw that in there. So imagine what your life would be like if you had the time to make your handmade gifts, right? So there's a difference between homemade and handmade. And I had to explain that to my students this week. Homemade is like the apple pie, okay? You make it by hand, and you do put a lot of love into it. But the handmade is really when the skills come out and really shine. And people really enjoy receiving those gifts that are made from the heart, as well as the embellishments that you can put around your house to make it a home. So I'm waiting for the slide to change. So today on UFO Friday, we are going to have a presentation. We're going to make a napkin, and you're going to see about the new YouTube channel. And we're going to talk about Scrappy Hour, the community, just a little bit more, the downloadables that I have, and the show and tell. So next slide, please. And this is just another little recap on that. Let me move myself out of here. Oops, okay, I thought I really lost myself. If I push too many buttons, it's going to be gone. So UFO Friday, as you can see, it's a real-time education with me. Scrappy Hour is the after hours party where you get to interact with the people in the Zoom room, and that's really nice. That's very different from any other type of guild out there that's online. A lot of people have you in webinars and you're, just hanging out there watching, and you can't talk or comment or anything like that. So this UFO Friday is a lot different. We value community. I want you to get to know each other and interact, because to me, I'm here, I put it on, but it's all about you. It's not about me. The YouTube channel is coming. It's under construction, but since I got UFOFriday.com, I got the YouTube channel as well, and that is becoming higher on my priority list to work on. And then the references. This is the downloadables that I've made. So if you've been with me and following UFO Friday for a while, you've noticed like in the past several months, I've been kind of testing some things out on you to see how they go. So that was in the form of all the different kinds of instructions that I was giving to you, and you were able to download them. So you didn't know this, but you were my guinea pigs and really helping me out to make sure that the process worked for me. And show and tell. I really want to bring show and tell back in 2026. I want to make it easy for you to get pictures to me of the things that you're working on, because when you do that, you inspire a lot of other people. It's and with either with everybody being around the world, really. We have people in Canada, a lady from Australia joins us from time to time, and then we have a friend that's in France. I don't know if she's still over there or not, but she comes, and so you really get to see what's going on around the world and learn from one another. So let me tell you my story. So this is me before the pink hair. I know it's hard to believe. It's really hard to believe that I was that young at one time too. when I look at that, and that what you see with Prissy, my kitty cat at the time, was my first sewing machine that I bought. And boy, was I the bee's knees. That was the Singer XL 6000. It sewed and it had an embroidery attachment to it. And what I really loved about that machine is that it threaded itself. And I mean, it really did thread itself. All I had to do was take the thread from the spool and lead it over to a guide where there was a thread cutter at the top. And I cut the thread off, pushed a button, and it thread through the machine down through the eye of the needle even. And I was like, sold! That is mine, that is mine. And then what else was cool about that machine, if you see that little black area, inside there you could put a spool of bobbin thread, and it would rewind the bobbin when it ran out. So, man, I loved that machine. And it took me a long, long time to upgrade. So when I started learning how to sew was when I became interested in teaching sewing, because I figured if I could teach myself to do it, which is probably pretty hard, I could certainly share what I learn with other people and teach them how to do it. And, that's, a little over 15 years ago, and it's just such an interesting part of my story. But when I bought my machine, I named her. She was called Big Sister because she taught me how to sew, and I took her places with me. In that picture there, I was in Huntsville, Alabama, attending Martha Pullen's Teaching Beginners licensing class. I took it up to New York with me when I had to work up there, so it fit in the trunk, and I took it all with me. Back then, I didn't have as many like what we call resources as I do now. So they fit in the trunk, but not so much. There's too many decisions to make, right? But what was really fun was the dealer that I bought the machine from had a store in Occoquan, Virginia, and that's a historic town. It was about an hour away from me. So once a month, I would travel down to Occoquan to attend the embroidery club meeting. And this one meeting really stuck out to me because I think it may have been my second meeting. And she said, for the next meeting, buy a pre-made apron and we'll embroider a pocket and attach it. And I was just like, no way. I need to learn how to sew, and I'm going to make myself an apron. So mind you, this was maybe like the late 90s, okay? So we really didn't have the internet then. It's hard to believe. If this thing bothers you, I'm sorry, it's the camera for my demo a little later. But anyway, so I didn't have we had the internet, but it was AOL. Can you say bang, bang, bang? The dial-up connection. So that takes you back. And I know there were like these message boards that I would follow and get instructions. Like Pinterest wasn't even a thing back then. So it was so hard to find this information online, so we would still use books and things like that, and I've subscribed to a lot of different magazines and whatnot. But anyway, the thing about going to Occoquan was that community. I looked forward to that every month, and my husband knew that on that particular Saturday, that's my day. That's my day. I'm getting out. I would leave at like 8 o'clock in the morning to get down there and get a parking spot. And then after our meeting was over, I would have lunch with the ladies and walk around downtown Occoquan. And then that was just my time. If I had been at home, I would not have had that time to myself. I would have found something else to do, right? Even if I wanted to make something, I would have found a reason not to. And that was just very important. And that's what I like about what I have in store for you for UFO Friday coming up in 2026. So let's go on to the next one. I think I'm doing my presentation. Real-time education based on sewing techniques, threads, stabilizers, and notions. So if you have access to YouTube or Zoom, you can get access to UFO Friday on any kind of digital device that you might have, even a smart TV, which is not listed there. So come on. And the YouTube channel, I already mentioned that, but it's coming. It's going to be called UFO Friday. So you can look for that. You can, if you want, you can subscribe to it before I even put anything on there, but it will be coming up soon. So this is my cue to start our little demonstration. So what we are going to make is a napkin, and I have to move some stuff out of the way. You get to see some really nice tools and some of the ways that I do things. So I just have a 10 by 10 piece of fabric here, and I'm going to show you how I turn the fabric over. So if you've ever made like a bag or anything like that, they tell you to turn fabric over 1/4 of an inch, right? And you know, I just want to beat the person that tells you to do that, because that's just such a little piece. And how do you do that? So sometimes you can use that seam gauge and you'll kind of measure it and turn it over a little bit and pin it or iron it as you go. Well, I have a better way of doing that, and actually I have 2 ways to show you that you can do that. There's more, but my favorite way is to use my ruler, and for this napkin I'm going just to measure 1 inch over. Sorry about that glare, there's nothing I can do about it except put my hand there. And this is Clover's point-to-point turner. In fact, this part right here is a Hera marker, H-E-R-A. It was the first notion I bought at Martha Pullen's school. And then this section down here is a point-to-point turner. So what I like to do is to use this section. It's really narrow and it will kind of like score the fabric. It won't damage the fibers, but you don't want to try to damage the fibers either. You just kind of want to press firmly, and it leaves an invisible line. So you could even use this for quilting, even if you need a line that you don't want to put any kind of mark on your fabric, you can use this instead. So I'm going to score at 1/2 inch as well. And hopefully I can position this so that you can see those little score marks, right? You see those? Just faint. But what happens when I'm ready to iron, I can just go to the iron and it just folds there naturally. And that's what I really love about this tool. So we're going to end up doing a double fold. So I am going to mark all the way around here. We made these napkins last night in class, and the ladies were just so tickled. We also made the round one for the Christmas tree. Have you ever seen that? The Christmas tree napkin, it's a half circle, and there's a special way that you fold it that it makes a triangle, and you see both sides of the napkin, and it looks like a little Christmas tree. So I told them that they passed their final exam last night. They learned some more techniques. Okay, so that's really fast and easy. I'm going to put that out of the way. Now the next thing I want to show you is we have all these lines in here, okay, kind of like a little intersection running around here. So I'm just drawing on here just so you can see this, but I'm going to, I am using a regular ink pen. And I might have to get a Sharpie. Let me put some under there. So it worked last night. Why doesn't it work today? So this is what I'm looking for. Can you see that little section? That is where these lines intersect. So it was the 1 inch line on both sides there. They intersect right there, and I just want to make a little mark there so you can see this. You won't have to do it because when you do this at home, you'll be able to see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this little corner in to that line, okay, where that intersection is, and I have to move my cutting mat because I'm going to press this. So I was telling the ladies last night, anytime that I can press, I do. I can be anal about some things and not about others. So, and I'm going to do a double fold on that. So let's press that again. And then I'm going to repeat that all the way around. I am using Clover's mini iron, if you're not familiar with this, they redesigned it, and I really like it. What's new about this is the stand for it. So they previously had something different for the stand that was a little not as stable, wouldn't hold it up as well, and it was clumsy. It would fall over. But now you can see I can just place that down, and it's nice and secure, and I don't have to worry about it falling over and burning something. Now, I think this iron gets super hot because I've actually burned my mat. I was like, something smells funny. Then I looked down and I saw what happened. So if you know anything about me, I am a calamity in the kitchen. And one night I made something and I used the olive oil. A little while later, my husband was like, "Where's the cap to the olive oil?" And I was like, "I don't know." I didn't use it. I don't know what you did with it. Come to find out, I put it on the pan and it was in the oven. I just do those kinds of things. So one of the things I want to do for UFO Friday next year, because I'm going to do more online education, Clover has a lot of different pins. And these are actually my favorite. These are the light blue and yellow pins. You can see those. And the reason I like them is they are quite thin. And they're called the quilting pins, or I'm sorry, the patchwork pins. And when they have the translucent heads, that means they're fine. So they have the quilting pins as well, but they have the ones with the translucent heads. They are the quilting fine pins. So that just means that they're a little bit more narrow. So now I'm ready to make this mitered corner. And I know that can be challenging sometimes. So again, I get my iron out and try to help me as I go along. Also, when I demonstrate at the shows, right, I have a lot of time because people are coming and they want to see what I'm doing at different points in time. So I will do things very slow. So I'm folding this over twice, okay? And believe it or not, you have the ability to manipulate this. So think of reverse engineering, okay? So you know what you want it to look like. Sometimes it's a matter of getting it to look that way, okay? So you saw how I just folded that up in there and was able to use that. Another nice thing about these Clover pins is that they're heat resistant, so I could run over them with my iron and the heads won't melt. So what I like to do after I get that in place is use one of these magnificent Clover Wonder Clips. Okay, so you know we have a couple different types of those. I like the minis for these corners because they're really tiny and I can hold it, put it right there, and it'll hold it in place. So I'm going to work my way around. So I'll try to do this a little bit more fast for you. I did want to show you another tool. So this is the hot ruler, okay? Clover has a couple different ones. So the original hot ruler looked like this. It has a nice inside corner and a rounded corner so that it will help you with your pressing. So that was my other option. I could use one of these tools and turn this over an inch, make sure it's in there in the right, as far as I want it to be, and press right on top of it. This is made out of a fiberboard that's heat resistant, and it also has a texture to it so your fabric won't slide around on it real easily. So this was the original one. This was the original hot ruler, and people wanted bigger ones, okay? So they were taking these and buying like 2 of them and sewing them together so they would have something larger. So Clover, you asked and Clover delivered. So there is this one. This one's called the Hot Hammer Square. And this is called the Hot Hammer Large. So it's much bigger, as you can see. So a really handy thing about these hot hammers is that they have these lines that go into the corner, right? And what makes that really nice is if you butt this up on our 1-inch lines that we scored, this will help you with the mitering. So you can fold there. And you know, I think you have to pull it out just a little bit, but you know that that's where your miter has to meet up, right on that line. So it'll help guide you, okay? So you could use one of the Wonder Clips again if you wanted to hold that in place for you. Sometimes we just don't have enough fingers, do we? Hi, Mary Susan. I see you there. I hear you have a birthday coming up. So we're going to do this other mitered corner there. And I know that, so right here, this is the reverse engineering part. I know that that's where I want it to be, right? So I have to kind of finagle the fabric and make it work. So this is the hard part because that's a anti-slip, taking it out like that. It's funny, you know, when I do this on my own without anybody watching me, I can do it. I could do this all day, but then put me on the spot and I feel like I'm all thumbs today. I was feeling this way yesterday during class. So I'm just going to hit that with the iron. I can even pin it because I'm going to do that in a little bit anyway. So I'll use some of those pins. I'll just put a couple of them in there. I rarely do a UFO Friday when I make something from start to finish like this. Usually I have it already staged out. But I'm going to be honest with you. These past 2 weeks have been a bear. If you've been following me, I kind of stopped talking about my technology woes because I just didn't have time to vent about it. I just had to put my big girl panties on and deal with it. And it was tough. I rarely get like really stressed, but I was getting stressed. And it was not a good time around here. So, yep, got it in there. Give it a little clip. These Wonder Clips are amazing. And it's really fun to work with a great company like Clover. They're really appreciative of things that I do. And then the customers, you all, are just so nice. It's just fun working at the shows and meeting people from all over. One of the really fun things about what I do. I picked a great chosen profession. I see that you all are watching very intently how this is going to turn out. All right, got that done. 2 more. Maybe I'll try it from this side. Maybe that'll feel more comfortable for me. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I often say I don't do handwork because I do it so slow. But I'm like, okay, I want you two to meet right there. You have to meet. And then I just kind of work backwards. And I've been known to use my pins. Let's get you in a little closer. I've been known to use my pins to make these little sections like pop out. Okay, so even if I had to hold that down, I can just stick my pin in there so that I can manipulate this and make it work for me. So again, another time I used the pins and I just stabbed them in there. I like these wool pressing mats. This one is from Pam Demore. I haven't talked to Pam in a while, so I know she made some changes over on her business where she doesn't have the warehouse at her home anymore. She lives in New York and her warehouse is located in Washington State. But I know she's still doing her webinars too. So I'm going to stick a wonder clip in there. Sorry for the loud noise. And then I just have to press that one side. All right. So I just have to make this side cooperate. Not too hard. So a lot of times when I teach a class, I'm trying to teach you how to do the thing, right? And this also came up during class. Like, I don't just teach you how to make something. That's like showing you how to make something. I like to educate you about doing it. Like, why do you do it that way? Or what are your options, for example? So it's more than just showing you how to make something. Okay, so we got all of that together. I'm going to put that pin away. This is a magnetic pin case, also a Clover product. It has a nice area where you could grip your pins. And the nice thing about this is when the pins come, they either go this or that way. They don't go in a different direction to make it harder to get those. So I keep them up because of cats. Okay, so I have all of that clipped and I am ready to go over to the sewing machine. So let's take a little trip. Okay. Let me do this first. So this was what I explained to my students last night. Let's go back to this demo area. So with the wrong side up, take a look at your presser foot. Okay, so I have a patchwork foot here. Can't see it all that well. So what I really like about this patchwork foot is that it has a couple different increments that I can use for measuring. So the needle will go in here, and from the needle to the inside of this toe, let me get in here a little closer. So from the needle, where it goes down right there, to the inside of the toe, that is 1/8 of an inch, okay? From the needle to the outside of the toe, that's 1/4 inch. And another neat thing about this presser foot is from where the needle goes down to this section right here of the presser foot, that is 1/4 inch. And that is super helpful when you want to make turns. So now let's go back over to the sewing machine. So I just want you to keep in mind that I have a camera in front of me now, and it's going to be harder for me to sew this. I like to have the camera up there so that you can see what I'm doing, but it just makes it harder for me to grab stuff and all that. So now that I know where I want to sew, I'm going to sew from the right side of it. And I put in matching thread. It's pink in color in the bobbin and the top. And to go around the first time, I'm just going to use 1/4 inch. So I'm lining the presser foot up along the edge here. And this is what I call an insurance policy. I know you all are used to doing this, but it's raising your bobbin thread. And I say raise your bobbin thread anytime. I do it all the time, but as a safety and to make sure that your machine is operating fine and that maybe you have the right size needle in there, or that even that your bobbin thread's going to come up, I always pull it up. So last night, what I decided to do is I'm not going to back stitch, okay? I have a straight stitch set. I have my stitch length on 3, and I'm going to sew. I'm not going to run over my needles. And you'll notice that I did not back stitch, right? I purposely did not do that. Just want to make sure you all can see. Okay, so now I'm getting ready to come up to that corner, right? And what I want to do is I want to stop when, let's see if you can see this. You see my needle? I want to stop when the edge of the fabric gets right there, that section of the foot I told you about. So let's sew a little further. I'm getting close. Now let's just say if I go one more stitch, it's too far. But what you can do is adjust your stitch length so that you can go and mate that on the dot as close as possible. I think I can do another stitch. Okay, I went over a little bit, but no big deal. That's good. But my students last night did not realize that they could actually change the stitch length. Apparently that was a rule back in the day. And so this is off a little bit. So because I am who I am, I'm going to back stitch one. Oops. Okay. So now I'll start on this side. I don't know about you, but I am a slow sewer. So I'm a little iffy about that. So it looks like I could go just a little bit further before I'm at the corner there. So I'm going to take it down to 2 millimeters and see what that does. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to pivot at that point, lined up right on the dot, and then I'm going to put my stitch length back to where I want it. Oops. That's called the drunkard path. All right, we're getting close. Last one. All right, so this time I'm ready to end this. And when I made my sample, I could really see the back stitching that I did because I used contrasting thread, right? So this is what you can do so that you really make it less noticeable for your back stitch. So I'm going to sew up to that area. And I'm right back to where I started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go forward 1 stitch, backwards 1 stitch, forward 1 stitch. So you're just going to do that 1 stitch and it will make it a lot less noticeable. So right there, I just walked it. Let me take some practice. I'll walk it again. So that should be secure. I mean, there's other ways that you can do it too. You could use a hand needle and bury those threads, but that works pretty good. So let's go back over to the other camera and see how I did. All right, this is a reveal in and of itself. So that's where I ended. I did that small little back stitch. Let's clip those. It's hardly noticeable, right? That's part of the love of our projects, right? They don't have to be perfect. But some people are at that level where you want to try to do things like that can make things look a little better. So that's certainly acceptable. And then the rest of it turned out pretty good. That's where I overshot that one stitch. I can use my seam ripper to get rid of that. Ah, I have it. I'll show it to you again. The Clover's their newest seam ripper. It's called the Fit Grip Seam Ripper. So as you can see, I love things that have a sheath. That is so nice. So it is ergonomically designed so that it'll fit in your hand really nicely. So let me raise that camera up for you so you can see that. Bring my microphone over here so you can hear me. And there you go. And they're nice and neat. Get that one little stitch out of there. I'll take care of that later. But it turned out really nice. So the nice thing about that presser foot, let me bring it back over here. If I want to now go around again and put a parallel line of stitching, I could put this toe, the inside toe, right on the edge of that napkin and have my another stitch that is 1/8 of an inch away from my original stitch line, and it'll look really, really nice. So that is our little cocktail napkin that we made. I'll spare you all the additional top stitching because I think you know how to do that, right? All right, let's get back to the presentation because I have a few more things to share with you. The holidays are coming up, and how fun will it be to make personalized napkins for your dinner guests for dessert? Oh, speaking of dessert, brownies. So there's a story about these brownies. I've been working with a business coach for quite some time now. I've had a couple of them. And as a creative person, it's kind of challenging. And the one business coach is a creative, so she has that mindset. And she told me about a story about the brownies. So we're looking at these brownies and we're like, oh my goodness, they look so good. Why did she put those brownies up there? I can't stand it. They look so good, right? And so pretend that you were at my house. And for some reason, I decided to bake brownies. Don't worry, I can't bake them. It's like the one thing that I can't make. They always stick. But anyway, so I'm baking brownies and you're there. And then I'm like, bye, time for you to go. And I never offer you any brownies, right? How disappointing is that, right? So the analogy of this is the brownies is like my knowledge, okay? I have like these brownies in my head. That's all the knowledge that I have about all the things that I've learned over the years with all these great companies that I work with, but I don't share them with you, okay? And part of that's been a little purposely because UFO Friday has always been free, so I put a lot of effort in it, and because anything that has my name behind it, I'm going to, give it my best shot. But I never went above and beyond. And part of that was because I traveled so much. So I've decided to make some cutbacks with the traveling and focus a little bit more on UFO Friday for next year and share some of that knowledge with you. So this is kind of like what my brain looks like. There's notions and threads and stabilizers and machines, and there's feet and all kinds of stuff that you can do, the techniques that I enjoy working with. So, the next slide, I've only given you a bite out of that brownie during UFO Friday. But things are changing. And this slide threw me off. So with Scrappy Hour, that is an opportunity for us to talk and share and communicate with each other, interact with one another, and just have a good time. I know when I go into the Zoom room before it starts, before UFO starts, everybody seems a little tense at first. But then by the time we get to talking and sharing our stories and hearing about what each other is working on, everybody tends to relax. And by the end, everybody is so happy. And it makes me feel good because I brought you all together so that you could share that time with one another and you made yourselves happy. So that's really fun. But I look forward to UFO Friday all the time. It's just my favorite time. And over the years, we've actually become like our own family. UFO Friday is kind of like a quilt guild meeting, except you can do it from the comfort of your own home. I'll join you on your cozy couch if you put me there. And we can chat away for the afternoon. Next one, the references that I've been making for you. So if you haven't gotten a hold of any of those and you want to see one of them, let me know. I will gladly send one your way so that you can take a look at that because they're not on the website any longer. And the show and tell, oh my gosh, we used to have so much fun with this. So you see this here. This is a tent that one of our members made, and we watched her work on that thing from the beginning to the end, and it was such a great story. And Barb made it, Barb Haruff, and it was driving her crazy. She was challenged by making this, but she designed all of those little prints or patterns in there, so nothing was like pre-made. She did it all, and it was a challenge for her, but it was rewarding in the end. She swore that she was not going to make another one, and guess what? She did. And I look back on it and I'm like, goodness, those children are probably out. I know they're outgrown that card table tent, but how fun was that to get inspired by her doing her projects and sharing them with us. So UFO Friday, like I said earlier today, it's different because I do not have any type of sales pitches here. You saw that I showed you some great tools. I don't tell you where to buy them because I don't sell them. I might have an affiliate link right now. I don't. That will be the only thing that I will give you. Like if that tool is something that you feel like you can't live without, you get it at your time if you want. That does not matter to me. Just the community and having you all come join me, that what makes UFO Friday so fun. So I said I can't bake cookies or brownies, but my husband baked me that cake, and this is how I'm going to share it with you. I know you all like to see pictures of me every now and then with something like that. That was one of my birthdays. So UFO Friday moving forward in 2026, there's always going to be a free component to that. So don't worry, it's not going away. And what it will be is it's going to be on YouTube now. So you'll be able to get the same 12 presentations just like you saw now. They'll be out there. The benefit of YouTube is you can watch it from anywhere. If you're on the go, and as long as you have access to YouTube, you can watch UFO Friday from the Facebook channel, and you can still learn and see everything like you just saw this afternoon. And you can always reach out to me if you have any specific questions or topics that you want to talk about. Even share your UFO Fridays with me. I will do that. So what I'm asking you to do, if you want to be a free member, go to ufofriday.com and click on the link for the free membership. And what that's going to do is going to send you to a form so that I know that you're still interested in that, and I'm going to send you out the reminders. So what it means is I don't want to bother my entire mailing list if they don't want to register to attend UFO Friday. So I'm kind of segregating it out a little bit. Sometimes I make a mistake or something like that. In order to fix it, I have to email everybody. So that's what I'm trying to avoid doing in the future. So yes, there is going to be a paid component to UFO Friday, and this actually is a real good benefit. I did say no sales pitches, didn't I? But this is something different. So I have the Club Access Lite, okay? And that's for 6 months. So if you just want to try that out for 6 months, see if it's for you or not, I think you're really going to like what I have to offer. That's the program for you. And you'll get the Zoom link so that you can come in Zoom and sit in here with your friends and socialize, hang out during scrappy hour, submit your questions and your show and tell for us. And then you'll also get the recording. The recording's still going to be over on YouTube, but you'll get a recording of everything. Plus, I'm going to give you free tickets to my new online classes that I'm offering. So I'm saying that I'm opening the vault. And when I mean a vault, there is a ton of stuff in there. I have that stabilizer class in there, and that class alone, if you were to take it at the expo, is $129. I have another really popular class on threads and needles that sells out all the time, and I plan on bringing that out of the vault and giving it to you. And I'm going to also offer these classes to the public, so you are going to get a free ticket to anything that I put out there that has a price tag on it. Plus, I'm going to do a concierge service. So this is like the best part, I think, about working in a booth and meeting people, is when you come to me with your fabric and you're like, I need a thread. Like, it's so fun when somebody says, I need this blue. I need this blue thread to go with this. And oftentimes we can't find that exact blue, but there's a fabric out that I like called Cotton Blendables, and I can help you find the right thread for that. So what that would also include is giving you some tips about, maybe the needle that you need to use, how you might need to adjust your machine in order to work with that thread. I have almost all of Salky's threads. So what you would do is send me a sampling of your fabric, maybe even send me like the quilt sandwich or something like that, so that I can work with it and meet you on Zoom one-on-one and help you decide what you want to use thread-wise for that, or even try out a decorative stitch or quilting or something like that for you, so you know what you need. And then you buy the thread on your own. You can go to Salky's website and find it, but then at least you'll know what you're looking for. And then this part is pretty cool. I'm going to give you a free ticket to Know Before You Sew. And this class is for beginners. And it's really fun. So in the back of my room over there, I bought a sewing machine again. Another one. And this one is just a very simple machine like a lot of beginners have, where it has the front end or front loading bobbin, so that I can help them work with that front loading bobbin. And I do that every year when I work with the kids. I can teach them how to use that, how to take it apart and put it back together, because when they can operate the machine by themselves, it takes a lot of pressure off of me. And they do. They learn how to master that all by themselves, and they're fixing the machines for themselves. So that's a great class in and of itself, especially for a beginner. And I do have the machine with the drop-in bobbin, so I can help them with either machine that they need. And then the other one is the Club Access. So that's the 1-year membership to all of those things. And plus, since you're getting the 1-year membership, I'll throw in some extras. At this point, I don't know what they are, but other great things are coming in 2026. But that's going to go for $3.99 when when I advertise it to the public. But to you all, I'm going to give it to you for $197. So that is a really good deal. It means a lot to me to start this community and have you part of it and join me online. We've been together for so long that there's just so much knowledge up here that I want to offer you my brownies and my cake. I want to share that with you. So that's my soft reveal for UFO Friday. I hope that you consider that, and I would love to have you part of the community to join me and learn a lot of different things that is coming in to come. So some of those online classes, I have serger classes. I've made an incredible scarf on the serger that is just unbelievable. I've had that, oh my goodness, probably for like 3 years. And I've never released it. I've never seen anybody else do anything like it. And I was ready to take that thing to the grave with me. It's so funny. Embroidery classes. I know I have some friends that do machine embroidery and want to learn how to do it. I have classes that I've done in the past on machine embroidery. And then I have all these kind of like, I call them deep dives. So what was the one that I did? It was the pins, okay? So I was like, okay, we have, I don't know, we'll just say 11 different pins. And what in the world are all these 11 different pins for? And I was like, I wonder if I have all of those pins. And lo and behold, I did. And I laid them all out and looked at all of them and studied them and understood what the differences between all those pins were. And that just makes me more effective as an educator to know when to use the right pins, because not all pins are pins, just like not all thread is thread. So Clover has a bunch of thimbles, and I got to show you this. This is super cool. I went to the thrift store. We have a new Goodwill in my area, and you might recognize this as a jewelry box, right? From back in the day. Let me show you what I did with this. Hold on to your cookies. All right, get that out of the way. So the big reveal, open that up, and that's, I don't think I have all of them, but that is our Clover's thimbles. I know it's upside down. It's just because of the lid. I don't want it to be in your way. So I'm excited to take this out on the road with me and do like a thimble fitting. But I've learned watching people at the shows how selective they are about their thimbles and making sure that they have the right fit. So like, what is the difference between this kind of thimble and why might you use this thimble? So I do know the answers to some of them, but that's my thimble collection. I have a case for the pins and needles, and I thought there was something else. But the other thing I'm going to do a deep dive study on are the marking pens, because there are a bazillion different type of marking pens, and there's a lot of questions out there like, you know, if we iron on this, we can't get the mark out, right? So that's what my other deep dive is going to be all about, that, and that's going to be included in the Club Access membership. So let me change to the presentation again. So if you're interested in that, go to UFOFriday.com. I set it up. I tested it. If you have any problems, just let me know. You can send me an email at michelle@sewingmachineartistry.com, and I will work on trying to resolve any problems with that. But I even contacted the people out in, I don't know where they are, to double check that for me. So, you know, there's a couple different reasons why I decided to change UFO Friday for next year. And it's just like the sewing industry is really changing. You know, the quilt stores are closing, and we have these companies that are going out of business. We have tariffs, and they're really affecting a lot of the companies that we support. because their prices are going up, and it comes back down to us. The shows have changed since COVID. We're getting older, right? But this also is, we have a lot of stuff. Like, we probably have a lot of stuff to open up a store. I know I could. Machines are too big to lug around, and I've always been a huge proponent of online classes since 2010 when I started doing all this. The classes in the store, my classes are getting canceled because not enough people are signing up. And why is that? Is it any one of those reasons above? And then, there's Amazon. I don't know about you, but I am an Amazon shopper. I don't leave home too much, but, I do like supporting my local stores when I can. But if I just need something small, I hate to say it, but I will get it on Amazon. So it's just a lot of changes coming up here. I'm looking to make a community for you all that's like a safe place where you don't feel like you're getting pounced on as soon as you open up your window and start meeting with the rest of us. I just want you to feel comfortable and get a great education and learn something new and have fun. So this does conclude the educational part of UFO Friday. So those of you that are in Zoom, stand by, and I will be over there in just a minute. And I see I have some people out on Facebook. Thank you very much for watching. And be sure to check out UFOFriday.com for those memberships. And you can also check out my other website, which is sewingmachineartistry.com. The next UFO Friday is going to be on December 13th, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all then.